It's Bourbon Night. Hello, I'm Chad.
I'm Sarah.
And these are the 8 bourbon and American ryes that you should be drinking this spring.
According to us. So this list, obviously, like you said, is for spring bourbons and ryes. And I think what we were really looking for when we made this list was something that's a little lighter, maybe some fruity and floral notes. You know, we did a lot of really heavy barrel proofs for the winter and even the fall list.
Keep you warm.
And so I think we're transitioning out of it. It has to be that high proof. I actually, as the days get longer and warmer, I want something that's not so heavy.
Yeah, like, you know, in the fall, you're gearing up for those cold months, so you're thinking, let's raise up the proof. Now we're looking forward to summer, so we're like, let's take it down. Let's put on the short sleeve shirt.
Maybe a little more refreshing.
Yeah, let's explore that 90 to 100 around that area. So let's do that with our, in no particular order, number 1.
Old Forester, 100 proof.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Not normally our bag, right?
It's not normally where we land with Old Forester. We're typically going for the 1920. But that's a little heavy for spring, in our opinion. So this one, right at 100 proof, like it backs off the proof. It's a little lighter, but it's still got those almost like a cocktail type of notes in there. It's got some cherry, some toasty brown sugar, a little vanilla, and it's like, you know, you could drink this in summer, but I think that the proof puts it's nice in spring when it's still a little crisp outside.
Well, I think it's the finish that brings a little bit more heat that you might be looking for, and then it's also kind of got that crispy char barrel thing happening there on the back end, which I think lands it perfectly in spring for me. And this is also a value too. Right out of the gate with a value, but if you
want to step it up,
then we suggest the Whiskey Row series here, Old Forester 1897.
You forgot what it was in your hand, didn't you?
Sure,
You're so used to holding 1920.
Sure did.
He was like, what do I have? Yeah, 1897, so also 100 proof. A step up in price, but I always find that Old Forester has those notes. Like, that's kind of the signature scent.
This is just a little bit more developed of a flavor profile, because you're gonna about double, if not a little bit more than double in price up to this guy. But if you're looking for just a little bit more stately of a selection,
look at this color. It's screams spring.
Spring, that's what it screams. Next up is Maker's 46 Cask strength. Now, if you were thinking we were just gonna completely go lower proof on this list, and that's how we're gonna build it. It wouldn't be us. So this one is like 109.6 proof, this particular one, but it will vary in proof.
Right. So cask strength, still in that, you know, barrel proof cask strength, whatever range as you saw in our fall and winter list, what we gravitate to. But that actually toned down. I mean, 109 is not that high.
Yeah, and this is the first, maybe only, wheater on our list. Stay tuned. So, you know, the wheat, it's a lighter grains, letting the sweetness of the corn show through, of course, and you're just getting, again, those sweeter notes.
I'm getting like a lot of the toasted oak notes with like a sweet vanilla flavors. For being 109, it's pretty chill, and I think that sweetness helps balance that out to where it's a little heavier than, say, the Old Forester that we just had.
Yeah.
It makes up for it in that sweetness. I don't know.
Yeah.
A little refreshing.
For sure. I love the proof on this one, you know, almost 110. But it has that easiness, and I think a lot of that is because it is a wheater.
I think this is one where, like, later spring, when it starts to get warmer out, if you're, you know, having a cocktail and a happy hour on your patio or whatever, you could easily also throw like a big cube of ice in this one and just like sip it.
Now, Sarah, I kind of want to talk to the guys for a second. Do you mind, but fellas, if you could just.
I guess I'm okay with this.
All right, guys, I wanted to talk to you about something that becomes more and more important, especially as we get older, and that's skincare. I know that's not the most exciting thing in the world, but I recently discovered a system that I really like, and I want to share it with you guys, and that's called Tiege Hanley. Let's face it, we all drink whiskey, and whiskey dries you out. That's why we drink more water. But you can do so much more, and it starts with moisturizing. What I love about this system is you can customize it to your needs. Just want to take care of the basics? Then Tier 1 is perfect for you. Wash, scrub, AM, PM, and you're done. But maybe you're a guy of a certain age and you want to step it up a little bit to the next tier. Add in that eye cream, or go all the way in on Tier 3 and add the super serum. Still fighting some acne? They have acne tiers 1 and 2 as well. And what I really love is I don't have to go to the store to get this. It comes directly to me, which cuts out the middleman markup and prevents me from having to walk down the skincare aisle trying to figure out what I need. So you just pick a system and it shows up on your doorstep. After that, you have the ability to switch to different systems or skip your next delivery, change your renewal date or your shipping frequency. It's all completely customizable.
I think I know what he's talking to you guys about. It's Tiege Hanley. So he's been using it as a skincare routine for a few months now. And don't tell Chet I said this, but a skincare routine on a guy is, I like it. I don't know why guys are so secretive about it. That's so weird to me. But anyways, so I was really glad when he told me he was getting into it, and I stole something out of his package. It's this SPF lip balm. I am also a lip balm fiend, and the stuff is good. Like, this belongs to me now.
And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring this video, they're offering you guys a free toiletry bag with your first purchase. So click the link down below and get started. All right, let's get back to the list.
Woodinville 90 proof. I love this one. It is, one, it's a smaller distillery, you know, not one of the big dogs, especially, and it's a non-Kentucky distillery, which adds some variety to our list, but at the 90 proof, again, as we've been saying, it's a little less aggressive when it comes to the heat that it's bringing for those warmer times. And then it also has this like herbal lemon tea honey thing going on the palate, right?
It does, because not, you know, this list wasn't just going to be anything lower proof that we threw in. We drank through a lot of different ones and found the ones that had, as we said in the beginning, sort of like that spring type of profile, and this definitely has it. You hit on it with the lemon tea, the brightness, it's sort of herbaceous, and it just makes for, you know how a lot of whiskeys put you in a place.
Yes.
This puts us outside.
It definitely puts me outside.
Playing cornhole, something like that. Something outside with some people, drinking on something weather appropriate, and boom, right here with the Woodinville 90 proof, this seals the deal. Up next is Four Roses Small Batch Select. Now again, we're going a little bit north of 100, and I think kind of like the Maker's Mark, the 46 cask strength, this also is showing that it is a little bit higher than 100 proof, but it's not like you're putting on a bourbon coat, it's more like a bourbon windbreaker.
Oh, windbreaker.
Which is nice. I
love that. This one gives me the similar amount of herbal as we talked about on the Woodinville, a little less of that bright citrusy note though. It goes a little bit floral. It has a little chocolate on there that makes it really delicate and smooth and approachable, and I really like that about it.
Yeah, it sort of starts out more milk chocolate, but then the finish, there's a tiny bit of bitterness in there that I don't mind at all, but it goes a little bit more dark chocolate.
Like a baking chocolate.
Yeah, like a cacao, and I really like how it sort of slides into that, and so it's sort of like, well, the analogy would be when you first drink it, it's more, you're in direct sunlight, you're outside. The finish is more like the sun's starting to get real low, it's getting a little crisper out.
Like laying in the shade of a nice tree.
Yeah, so this gets
reading a book.
This gets you appropriately warm enough for the springtime.
I want to be outside.
I know.
Right now.
This list, daggone it.
The Russell's Reserve 6-year. Now this is a 90 proof rye, so we're still, you know, kind of skirting around that 100 proof.
Yeah.
That area that we like, but the rye. Right, the rye. Like, I think a lot of people would discount ryes in this season because they do tend to have, you know, higher levels of spice. That might be a little too hot, too spicy for the springtime.
But not when it's a barely legal rye.
Right. I think the nice thing about this one is it goes in the minty herbal area of rye more so than it does peppery. I mean, there's a little bit of that in there that might be nice if it was a little crisper.
Who's Christopher?
Crisper of a day.
Oh, okay.
You know, mint, maybe a little bit of like sage. You said dill.
I get a little bit of dill. Now, I do not like pickles, but I don't mind this little hint of dill.
Well, dill is an herb.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's pickles.
It's also a pickle.
I know.
But it's kind of giving me the vibes of like a spring picnic, you know? That little bit of dill in there.
Yeah.
As you said, a lot of people would count out a rye on a list like this, but when it's appropriate proof, appropriate percentage of rye, again, barely legal, so 51% rye, I think it can fit in nicely and have some nice variety to your spring menu.
Agreed.
Next up, another 6-year. This one is from Wilderness Trail. It is a bottled in bond. That means what? 100 proof, of course. And this is our other wheater. So yes, we do have 2 wheaters in here.
But is that surprising though for a spring list? Because I feel like again, we talked about it earlier, but the wheat is a softer grain, gonna let that sweetness come through from the corn. And I feel like that makes a lot of sense for where we're at seasonally. That 100 proof, it just feels right for right now.
Real nice, Clark.
Honestly,
nice.
I get a little bit of a coffee note on this, and that with wanting to be in the sun and where this is putting me mentally. If you had a nice sunroom and say you could get up in the morning and make yourself a cup of coffee in the spring when it's nice outside and just sit in the sun in the morning, that sounds really nice.
Yes.
I am tired of being inside with the snow. I don't know where you live or if it's been snowy there.
No, this would be a great eye-opener as you're describing it early in the morning. I think this would be...
Although we don't recommend or condone eye openers. Do you.
If you need one, if you've been working hard the day before, just like the farmers.
Well,
great eye opener here. And as you said, yes, sweeter. This is actually uses the sweet mash process. This has 24% of wheat in there. It's copper pot distilled.
Is it 24%? I thought you said it was 12.
No, that is the malted barley. It's 24% wheat and 64% corn.
I was only half listening.
12% malted barley. What else is new? And 6 years. So step up from their normal 4 year
and I like
that
to
they
see it.
came out with. A 6 year is really bringing something just a little bit extra, and that is all right with us.
That's true. I gotta say, this is my favorite from Wilderness Trail. So
yes.
Excited to see it on the list.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and here we have something that Chad and I don't normally see making it on our lists much anymore. Buffalo Trace, 90 proof, again, surprise for this list.
We haven't left it behind.
We haven't left it behind, and this is why. I think that, for me, it fits best in those spring and summer months when you want something that's really good quality, but you want it to back down just a little bit to keep you from getting a little overheated.
Sarah, cherry pie. Grape. Cherry. It's got that grape cherry thing, but yeah, spring, grape cherry pie.
And I think the thing that's great about Buffalo Trace, even though it's harder for some people to find, it is at a price point where this is something great. When we get back to having, outdoor things, backyard parties and things like that, this is a nice bottle that you can set out that someone can drink neat. And if they appreciate bourbon, they're going to appreciate that.
Yeah.
Or other people can make cocktails with it, and it's a really great proof point.
Yeah.
And a price point to be able to mix it again,
sure.
if you can find it. I know people out there who can't find this in their area are like, don't mix it.
In our area, it is a limit one when it does pop up. And there's another thing that's even more limited, but is definitely in that same space, and that's actually what you have in your glass. For those, because I know we'll get the comments, well, I like Eagle Rare, where that is sort of...
this or that.
Much like our first pick where we had a step-up version, this would be the step-up. It's the same proof, but it is 10 years old. So it is a little bit older. It's a 10-year-old age-stated, where this is not age-stated, but typically this can be, they say, between 7 and 9 years.
Yeah.
But this is the full 10.
And this one, I think, is bringing a little bit more flavor. It's packing a little more flavor in, and I think that's because of that age. Getting a little bit of tobacco, a little bit of leather as compared to the Buffalo Trace, but still a lot of that, cherry grape in the background, oaky.
Yeah.
But still... really easy to drink.
The elder statesman of these two.
Right.
Yeah, but both work great. If you can find both, get both. Drink them both.
We won't tell you not to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, to round out the list, did you think we weren't going to go high proof? Because, yeah, we are. Not all of them can enter this list, but here's one that can at $17.92 full proof, 125 proof, our highest proof on the list.
And some of you guys may be thinking and again, I don't know what climate you live in.
Don't know.
But for us in Kentucky, we're prone to cold snaps. Yeah. So everybody thinks it's spring. We're in spring mindset. We're in the 60s. We're maybe dipping a toe in the 70s. Ooh. And then all of a sudden, one week in late March or early April,
cold snap.
It'll be 30 degrees, 40 degrees.
Could even snow. It has before.
It has snowed I've seen it snow in May.
That's true.
It's crazy. So yeah,
when that happens,
we gotta keep something on backup for that.
Here is
instance.
your break glass if cold snap emergency kit, $17.92 full proof. Will any high proof bourbon work? Well, yeah, maybe.
To be argued.
But to still be in the wheelhouse of our spring list here, this one is bringing those I think you said fruit salad type of flavors.
Yeah, and we were talking about like
plum.
peach plums, but like it just kind of gives me a fruit salad vibe. But it's still got some of those more mature notes, like the oaky, definitely some vanilla. So it's got some
vanilla, caramel.
Stays right with those things. It's like a little bit on the sweeter side, but it stands up too, and it's got that proof that would warm you up on a day when you weren't expecting it to be cold. Right? You've put your sweaters away.
You put the bourbon windbreaker on, but then you're like, oh, let me open up that coat closet and get out that bourbon coat. I need it now because of this cold snap. Here it is. But that 125 isn't just like hitting you over the head like I am, I'm a George T. Stagg or a Stagg Jr. No, it's not that.
It won't kick you quite that hard.
No, it's still pretty approachable for that 125 proof, and that's that plus the flavors are really why we're putting it on the list.
I think so. And price point wise, if and when you can find it in the wild, right, it's at the right price, I think, as well. The caveat there being if you can find it.
If you can find it. Now, because of that, we put an alternative in here. So the alternate for this one, just like a couple others.
You guys didn't think we weren't going to put a beam on this list, did you?
Actually, the first beam that we've had in this, what do we call this? Seasons list that we've had here.
Seasons list?
This is our first beam on here, and that's what you have in your glass, Sarah.
It is.
Now, this is just the regular off-the-shelf Knob Creek single barrel 120 proof. It's on a pick, although those are lovely normally. But this is the one that is just should be any and everywhere. It's a 9-year age-stated 120 proof single barrel. It's gonna bring more than nuttiness.
It does. It brings a lot of nuttiness. So for me, when picking this one, it's like it is readily available for pretty much everyone. That 120 proof, similar reasoning here behind the proofs. It's 120, but again, I think like we talked about, it is still approachable.
Yeah.
And such a staple. And again, price point wise, availability wise, like you got to have it for those surprisingly cold days.
Yes.
I was trying to pick out notes.
Any day.
Right. This is really an any day that you feel like it, this will work. But it didn't make it onto our fall.
A little tougher in the summer. That's when you go down to maybe that 100 proof. Small batch.
Two people who have tried to drink Booker's outside in July, we can tell you.
It's harder.
It gets a little tough.
Might need that ice ball.
That's when we pull out the ice ball.
But this list is all sans ice, sans keeping it in the freezer. I mean, this is just still drinking neat and enjoying it out in the season that we are referring to.
Right. What a good list, though. I like doing these.
Yes,
I think, a lot of people say, how come this didn't make it on the list? These are just our 8 highlights. And
it's completely subjective. This is what we like to drink during the spring, among other things, but definitely these 8 and the 3 alternates that we had.
Sure. And if it makes sense to you, makes you feel good to drink that in whatever season, do it. You should.
Absolutely. What else might make you feel good is going to whiskyambitions.com. It's our home on the internet for things such as our Glencairns, our water glasses, our rocks glasses, long sleeve for the spring, short sleeve for the... I just now realized we're both wearing Drink More Bourbon shirts, Sarah.
No.
Wow. End of the episode and we're like, wow, we're twinsies.
Ew, I don't like it.
Form of Glencairn.
Shape of bourbon. Sick. I don't like it.
We also have hoodies for those cold snaps, sweatshirts, and more always coming soon at whiskyambitions.com.
You can become a patron at patreon.com/itsbourbonnight and join our community for as little as $1 a month. Among other things, like patron-only podcasts and after the episode exclusives, patrons also get to weigh on things like what goes on this list. We do put those thought starters out there, so that's fun. You should go there and you should join.
There you go. And thanks again to T. Shanley for sponsoring. Hey, Bourbon works, Sarah. Today's episode, we really appreciate it. Make sure to check out that link. First thing down there in the description below. All right, that'll do it for us. Thanks, Sarah.
Thanks, Chad.
Okay, until next time, drink more bourbon.